So I have, so far I have finished with the 7 principles we are interested on, that interest our course of microeconomics. Our course is called microeconomics, which represented by these 7 principles. I will write notes and follow me on the screen. So economics is composed. Economics is composed of 2 parts: microeconomics, main 2 parts, and macroeconomics. Okay, for this year we are interested in studying microeconomics, which is study of individuals behavior. Okay, by individuals we mean households and firms. Okay, firms, household and firms. Okay, we start microeconomics study the economic behavior of individuals. By individuals we mean households, people me and like me and you, etc. Or we can call households, or sometimes you can call them consumers. Okay, we will have a chapter called the theory of the consumer choice, and the last chapter is about firms in competitive markets. So this course is about individuals. But macroeconomics, which is the second part, one of them, the second part of in economics, is which we will see as a freshman. You will see when you become sophomore next year, which is about study of the economy as a whole. Okay, so macroeconomics study the economy as a whole. By a whole, we mean all individuals in the economy. Okay, all the individuals. We don't study only the behavior of one individual, but the behavior of all individuals. Okay, so this is just to explain to you the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics, which has the 2 parts in economics. Okay. So let me then come back to the second part of this lecture. So please read at home the remaining 3 principles that concern okay, how the economy as a whole works. So these principles concern macroeconomics. Okay, there are a few slides about them, so so let me now go to the second part of this chapter. Okay, which is about how economists think. So here we are going to talk about economists. So it's an important chapter. Please pay attention, because as I said, maybe it is for most of you, maybe it is the first time you study a subject about economics, Okay, and being an economist is a state of mind. Okay, based on the principles we have seen and other things we are going to see, and it helps you as a student of economics, okay, to change or to change your state of mind to become or familiar with economist thinking, which is important for understanding this subject and for analyzing economics questions. Okay, and also to understand many things. Okay, so it's being an economist is a state of mind that should be done. Okay. So thinking like an economist. So we'll see what are the two roles of an economist and how economists work. Okay. So an economist is a scientist. Okay. Economics is a science. Okay. Science is based on observation, theory, and test of the theory. Okay. Economics is also based in theory, in observation, theory, and test of the theory. Okay, so as an economist, you observe many things: the behavior of buyers, sellers, individuals, firms, etc. And this is the observation, and you want to understand that behavior, that fact. So you make a theory about it. Economists make a theory about it. But this theory should be tested to be sure if that theory really explains the world or it is not the right theory to explain the world. So to do that, this theory should be tested, checked, based on the basis of data, etc. And you see the data. An economist look to the data. If the data uphold his theory, then that theory is correct to explain the world. If the data does not uphold or support that theory, then the theory should be rejected, and an economist or a scientist should look for another theory that can explain the world. So economists also work the same way. So that is why economics is a science. Okay, an economist has two roles. He can be a scientist like ourselves, like myself, etc., who try to explain the world, always try to make theories and test them. Or he can be a policy advisor. Okay, policy advisor means an advisor to the government. Okay, and in this role, the second role of an economist is to try to improve the world. Okay, if you are as a scientist, he tries to understand the world. As a policy advisor, he tries to improve the world. Why? By advising the government, etc., to implement some policies. He thinks, or she thinks, that this policy will improve the world situation. Okay. So in the first role, economists employ the scientific method. Okay. This is passionate development and testing of theories about how the world works. Okay. So as a scientist, okay, has a methodology economists they use. This methodology is based on models. Okay, economists use models to understand the world. or to study, for example, international trade, etc., or the behavior of consumer, the choice of the consumer, etc. Okay, they work in the models. What do we mean by models? Model is actually a simplified reality. Okay, our real world is very complex. There are many factors in it. And economists try to simplify this world. Okay, simplify this reality. Okay, by making a model which represents our world, but in a simplified way. Okay. This is we call a model. Okay. So, and to simplify this world, to simplify this complex world and make it simplified world, economists take or make assumptions. Assumptions are, let's say, he or she supposes many things that aims to simplify the complex world. Okay. For example, to study international trade, in the world there are more than 200 countries in the world. This is too complex for an economist to study 200 countries in the same time. So in a simplified world, we call model, an economist will study international trade by assuming what? Assume, for example, there are only two countries. We assume that in the world there are only two countries. Okay, so two countries makes the analysis very easy compared to studying a model or a world with 200 countries. Of course, this assumption of very strong assumption of two countries should not, of course, give a wrong theory. Okay, it must give a theory that can be applied or that is true for the 200 countries in the world. Okay, so by making assumptions, an economist try to make a model that is a highly simplified representation of a more complicated reality. Example of models, okay, for example, a roadmap is a model, okay? So it's a simple sheet of paper where there are roads and etc. We don't have to, but that roadmap explains the place where we are, and can tell us the way, okay, the right way to the destination we are looking for. Okay. A human being anatomy, also a model of a human anatomy that is also a model used by doctors. Okay, of course, doctors, especially beginners, would not study on real human beings. Okay, they study in models, but this model reflects the human body. And this is a model of airplane. Okay, engineers maybe work on this such type of models to study, to learn about airplanes, etc. The same thing for economists. We have also our own models that represents a simplified reality of the world, okay, on which we work. And these models are based on assumptions. To simplify the world, we should make assumptions. As I said, instead of working in 200 countries, we just work on maybe 2 countries is enough. This is an assumption. We assume that in the world there are only 2 countries, and we want to study how international trade between countries. Okay. Let's see here in these slides. There are two examples of models. I will today I will present for you the second model, which is which is called the production possibility frontier, which is a model, an economic model that helps to understand the production in a country. It's called production possibility frontier. So in this model, we will see how we make it and how the assumptions taken to get to this model, and what are the lessons or the results that this model can give and can enlighten about the world. Okay, the production possibilities frontier. It's called also PPF, production possibility frontier. It's a graph that shows the combinations of two goods the economy can possibly produce given the available resources and the available technology. Okay, so here the economy has certain amount of resources. These are scarce resources, of course. Okay, scarce resources. Okay, and it has also scarce technology or available technology. Okay, available. Okay, certain amount of resources and technology. This economy would want to know. Okay, and this graph will tell how much this economy can produce of two goods using these resources and technology. Okay, using these resources and technology, how much production this economy can make of these two goods. So here you see, we assume that in the economy we can produce only two goods. This is the first assumption. Okay, of course, an economy will produce thousands and millions of goods. Okay, this is too difficult to represent in a graph, because in a graph we have only two dimensions. Okay, so we assume that the economy has can produce only two goods. Okay, this is the first assumption, and let's make this graph that shows how much this economy can produce of these two goods using these available resources. So, let's say this example, let's assume that the first assumption, assume that this economy produces computers and wheat. So this economy is supposed to produce computers and wheat only. This is the first assumption, to simplify the world. The second assumption, to simplify the reality of this world, we assume there are only one resource, that is labor, workers, measured in hours of work. Of course, in the real world, there are more than one resource. There are labor, technology, capital, land, many things, many other resources we can use to produce something. But in this model we are constructing, we will simplify this reality by assuming there is only one resource, that is labor, that can be used to produce computers and wheat. Computers and wheat need only one resource to be produced, that is labor. Okay, this is our second assumption. Okay, you see here how the word is simplified. Okay, we assume that the economy has these available scarce resources. So the economy has 50,000 labor hours, okay, and this economy per month, okay, available for production. You see here, so the labor amount measured in hours of work, you only have, can afford, it can only provide only 50,000 labor hours per month, okay, available for production. Okay, so here our scarce resource. We have limited amount of labor. Okay, please interrupt me if you have any question. So let's try to use this data, this information we have to make graph which tells the combinations, as I said, the combinations of how much we can produce of these two goods that are computers and wheat. Okay, producing one computer, here we have another information important. Producing one computer requires 100 hours of labor. To produce one computer, we need 100 hours of labor. To produce 1 ton of wheat, it requires only 10 hours of labor. Okay, so here we made this table. Here we have employment labor hours for each computer and wheat. And here we have the production for computers and wheat. And we have A, B, C, D, E. They mean the possible combinations we can of goods, production of goods we can make. For example, the first one, if we allow the total amount of resources, 50,000 labor hours to produce computer, there will be 0 hours available for wheat, okay? If we do this, what happens? This economy will produce only computers, obviously, 500 computers and wheat. So the 500 computers, this is given by, produced by the 50,000 labor hours. So 50,000 labor hours can produce 500 computers. You know, one computer requires 100 hours of labor, okay? 50,000 hours of labor divided by 100, divided by 100 hours of labor gives us 500 computers. 0 hour labor hours for wheat necessarily gives 0 ton of wheat. Let's see another possibility. For example, if we allocate 40,000 labor hours to computers. How much computer? And the remaining 10,000 labor hours to the production of wheat. So how much we get? We get 400 computers. 40,000 divided by 100 gives 400 computers, and 10,000 labor hours divided by 10-hour labor for 1 ton of wheat gives us 1,000 ton of wheat, etc. Okay, here we get for different possible allocations of employment, we get different possible combinations of production of computers and wheat. Okay, I hope this is clear. By doing so, we can make a graph where, for example, in the y-axis, we put, for example, wheat, and quantity of wheat produced, and the x-axis, we put the computers, the quantity of computers produced. Okay, and we just here we have the possible combinations A, B, C, D, E, and just we plot our these points A, B, C, D, E on the graph. For example, A, if I produce 500, A represents if I produce 500, if the economy produces 500 computers, this corresponds also to 0 ton of wheat. If the country produces 400 computers, it can produce in the same time 1,000 ton of wheat. C, it tells if this economy produces 250 computers, it can also produce 2,500 tons of wheat, etc. By plotting these points, and we join these points, we get this graph, and this graph represents, okay, this line or this curve represents this economy's production possibilities frontier. Okay, each point on this line, okay, each point in this line, it tells the possible combinations of two goods, of the quantity of production of the two goods that the economy can produce, given its available resources of labor. Okay. This is what we call the model, which we call the production possibility frontier. So this is the model that represents the production possibility frontier. Okay, it's very easy. So let's do this active learning 1, points of the PPF. On the graph, find the point that represents 100 computers and 3,000 tons of wheat. Label it F. Would it be possible for the economy to produce this combination of the two goods? Why or why not? So let's see the F. Point F is 100 computers and 3,000 tons of wheat, which is here. Okay. The question is, can this economy produce these goods, these two goods? And the second question, why or why not? Okay. Of course, the economy can produce this combination of goods. Why? Because point F requires 40,000 hours of labor. If we multiply 100 computers by 100 plus 3,000 tons of wheat times 10, okay, we get that to produce this combination of F, of combination of goods represented by the point F, we need only 40,000 hours of wheat, which is lower than the 50, but the economy has how much resources it has. It has 50,000 hours of labor. Okay, so the economy, this point F, is possible because the economy has the resources necessary to the production of this combination. But the question is F efficient? It is not efficient. Okay. You remember the efficiency, the definition of efficiency is that you use you get the maximum from the available resources you have. This is efficiency. Okay. Here, the economy does not this economy does not make the maximum production out of its available resources. It has 50,000 resources, 50,000 units of resources, but it uses only 40,000 of hours of its resources. So this combination F is not efficient. It's not efficient. The economy could get more of either goods without sacrificing any of the other. Okay, so F is not efficient. So any point below the PPF, the production possibility frontier, is a possible combination, possible production combination, but it is not efficient. The second question, next, the question B, find the point that represents 300 computers and 3,500 tons of wheat. Label it G. Would it possible for the economy to produce this combination of the two goods? If we do the same work for G, we find the G above the PPF, which is here. Okay, 300 computer, 3,500 tons of wheat. Okay, this point G requires, wow, 65 hours labor, which is higher than the available resources. Obviously, the economy cannot produce such combination because its resources cannot allow this economy to produce such amount of computers and wheat. That is why this point G combination is not possible because the economy has only 50,000 hours of labor. Okay, so the result is, we can tell, is that the curve PPF, this curve PPF represents the combination of goods that the economy can produce efficiently, using all its available resources. Any point below, it is a possible combination of production, but these combinations are not efficient. Any point above the line, any point above the line is not possible combination of production. So only the combination represented by the point of this blue line represent the efficient combination, production combination of this economy. Hopefully it is clear. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you have a question? Yes, okay. let's see an example about the opportunity cost. We spoke earlier about the opportunity cost. And maybe in this example, we will calculate and the opportunity cost. And this example will be helpful to understand more this very important concept in economics that is called the opportunity cost. Okay. Donc, points of the PPF like A and E, possible, efficient, because all resources are fully utilized. Points under the PPF like F, possible but not efficient, some resources underutilized, workers unemployed, etc. Any points above the PPF, not possible. Okay. So the PPF and the opportunity cost. So recall the opportunity cost of an item is what must given up to obtain that item. And so I remind you, we face trade-off, two options, two possibilities, and we have to make a choice. And if I choose one option, I should give up the second option. So the opportunity cost of the first option is equal to what I gave up. Okay, this is what here it means opportunity cost. Opportunity cost of an item is what you give up to get that item. Okay, if I have 2 hours time, I have 2 options: go to a party or study for the midterm. If I go to the party, I will not be able to study for the midterm, and maybe I lose grades. So the opportunity cost of going to the party is represented by the points you lost on your grade. Okay. Moving along, the PPF involves shifting resources, example labor, from production of one good to the other. Okay. Societies face a trade-off. Getting more of one good requires sacrifice of some of the other. So if I need to produce more computers, I will have to take some workers from the wheat industry. Okay, and if I take some workers from wheat industry, okay, I have to sacrifice some tons of wheat to get some more computers. The slope of the PPF tells the opportunity cost of one good in terms of the other. Okay, what do you mean by the slope? It's the slope is in mathematics you have seen is say in French is la pente. Okay, is the slope of the curve is le pente de la courbe. Okay. So let's see. So this slope of the curve tells about the opportunity cost. Okay. So pay attention, please. Okay. Suppose I'm producing. I'm here. Okay. Let's call this point A, for example. Okay. Which is combination A, in which the economy produces 5,000 tons of wheat and 0 units of computers. Okay. If I want this economy wants to produce 100 more computers. Okay. 100 more computers means this economy should, to get this 100 unit of new computers, the economy should give up some tons of wheat. Okay, this is a trade-off. This is a choice which has to make, decision we have to make, and there is an opportunity cost to get a new item, some new items that are computers. For example, in this example, 100 new computers. I should give up 1,000 tons of wheat. Okay, to get 100 new computers. Okay, how much I need? You said you remember that for one computer need 100 hours of labor. Okay, so 100 computers need times 100 means we need at least 100 computers need 10,000 hours of labor. Okay, 10,000 hours of labor, so are can be given by from the wheat industry. Okay, by reducing the production of wheat by 1,000. Okay, to get this plus 100 computers, I should give up, this economy should give up 1,000 tons of wheat. Okay, which is this means to get one computer, I should give up 10 tons of wheat. So the opportunity cost of one computer, the opportunity cost of one computer, to get one more computer, I should give up 10 tons of wheat. So I say the opportunity cost of a computer is equal to 10 tons of wheat. I repeat, to get one more computer, I should give up, the economy should give up 10 tons of wheat. So the opportunity cost of one computer is equal to 10 tons of wheat. Okay. So the slope of this PPF curve, the slope that is the slope, you know, the slope of a curve, the slope is the change, the slope of this curve is the change of the of wheat over the change on computers, give the slope, and the slope minus 10 tells here about the opportunity cost. The slope of the PPF represents actually the opportunity cost. Okay, to get one more computer, I should give up 10 tons of wheat. Okay. Here, so the opportunity cost of a computer is 10 tons of wheat. Again, the opportunity cost, as I said, is what you give up to get one more item. Is what you give up to get an item. To get one item that is computer, I should give up, the economy should give up 10 tons of wheat. I hope it is clear. Here we have other examples that I recommend you see at home. Just one last thing. Economic growth and the PPF. Okay, suppose this is our economic PPF, this is the PPF, this is the production possibility frontier. If the economy grows, okay, grows and got more additional resources, okay, necessarily the PPF would change because the economy has now more resources. It can afford to produce more combination of goods. So if the available resources changes, the PPF would change. So if the economy grows, for example, with additional resource or an improvement in technology, the economy can produce more computers. Okay, so if the resource changes, so it will, if the resources increase, for example, labor resources increase, the economy will be able to produce more computers and more wheat, and this is reflected by a shift of the PPF to the right. See here from the line at the black line to the red line. So economic growth shifts the PPF outwards. Economic growth here means an increase in the available resources. Okay. I have finished it for today.